Hello, welcome to Reel Film Snobs. I'm Angela Yeager. I'm pleased to have with me on the show for a very special episode, Autumn Edwards. Welcome back to the show, Autumn.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And much to her chagrin, perhaps, but or maybe not, Autumn is here for our very special Best Films of the Year episode. That's right. This is where we count down, starting at number 10, there are top 10 films from 2025, with a caveat that, of course, because we can't see everything, especially because we're in a smaller city in Oregon. We don't get to see everything that opens in New York and LA, and we don't get to travel to big film festivals and see every little movie. But we have done our darndest to see as many as possible. I saw something like 500 films last year total, not from 2025, but I tried to see as many as possible. So I'm putting that caveat on. I also want to put the caveat that people should definitely go to our website at realfilmsnobs.com and check out. I'm going to have my list of all my runners up because I actually had 20 four-star films total for 2025. And really, the order is almost kind of a toss up because I didn't have a strong like top five this year like I do some years where I have like one film I just rave about. I had a lot of really good films, but not one that's like a masterpiece. So do go out to our website, and I'll also on the website note where you can find these movies because I've had requests from viewers wanting to know that, but we don't want to spend time on the show talking about that. Okay, are you ready, Autumn? We're going to
As
go
ready as
through
I'll ever
these.
be.
Okay, so my number 10 film is Blackness, Terms and Conditions by director Kahlil Joseph. This is a film that Autumn and I actually saw together at the Seattle International Film Festival, and I'm really glad we did get to see it because it only showed in 12 cities in America, and one of those was not in Oregon. So otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten a chance to see this film. It's a visual essay that takes as a point of departure the book Africana, an encyclopedia of Africa and people of African descent, edited by Kwame Anthony Appiah and Henry Louis Gates Jr. It's essentially a meditation on Black lives, identities, and experiences. It's a visual essay. It's unlike any film you've really seen before. It's not really a documentary. It's sort of a documentary. It's actually an essential piece of filmmaking. Unfortunately, it's somewhat difficult to find, but I feel like eventually it will make its way into some sort of streaming platform. And I highly recommend people watch it because it was one of the most unique and audacious films I saw in 2025.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think you could classify it as like docufiction, right? Because there is a little narrative element to it, but it's not really the strongest part of it. I think easily the strongest part is the incredible way that they wove so many different media together to form this movie. I'm glad you shouted out the editors there because it is easily, I think, the best edited film I saw all of last year. I think it's like a monumental work. I was absolutely blown away at the scale and the audaciousness of this project, and it works so well. It does play out like a concept album, is how the director kind of described it, and it totally feels like that. It has very distinct sections that have great rhythms to them, and each of them is, different enough from the last, but still has that, that through line where it feels like there are smooth transitions between them all. And I'm sure it will make its way out into the world for, not just being a fantastic film, but because of that concept album nature, it was constructed, with the intent, or at least with the awareness that in this day and age, people are going to be breaking down movies into like smaller chunks, right? For TikTok or, Instagram, whatever. There's so many bits and pieces of this movie that can just be taken out of context and shown anywhere, and it still makes total sense. And I think he was brilliant for just the way he constructed that, and I'm sure it's something that over time people will find and really latch onto. It's certainly one of my favorite films of last year as well.
Great. So I will be seeing it later on your list, I assume? Or,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah. So my number nine film. Oh, you should. No, you do your number 10. It's like I forgot how to do this. I was just
That's
like, I'm
okay.
going to keep going through my top 10 and forget you. Go ahead, Autumn. You're number 10.
So my number 10 was No Other Choice, directed by Park Chan-wook. It's a dark comedy about a family man who's laid off from his job that he's dedicated decades of his life to. And as job opportunities become slimmer and slimmer, mostly due to evolving technologies, he realizes that in a capitalist society, it's kill or be killed, and he decides to act accordingly. So I thought it's a very funny movie, for one. If you've seen any other Park Chan-wook films, you know that he excels, I think, at these, dark comedies where there's a lot of like morbidity. There's, usually some amount of death or, suffering, but it's certainly humorous. And here it really kind of bit at me because it reflects the world so accurately, I think. Everybody's struggling to get a job these days or hold on to their job. The society we live in is just totally hostile to, human life and interaction. And I just love the absurdist, lengths that, like, following that logic of, it is kill or be killed, so let's take that literally and to the extreme. I thought it was just brilliantly done, and it's beautifully shot and also edited too. So,
Yes, definitely. And I won't say anything else because my number nine film is No Other Choice by director Park Chan-wook. So I agree with everything you just said. It's a fantastic movie. It's only even as low as number nine, honestly, because when you set the bar as Park Chan-wook has so high,
mhm.
it's not my favorite film of his, which is not meaning that it's not a great film. It's just like when you've made so many masterpieces, it's slightly below those. But I did thoroughly enjoy this. I loved the black comedy. This was an interesting year in that a lot of the films, and this also includes for the Oscars, are kind of like dark comedy slash dramas. There was a lot of humor in some very dark material, and this is one of the. It's a very dark film, and yet it's extremely funny. We saw it in a full audience, full of people at a preview screening, and people were just cracking up. So at the same time, it is Park Chan Wook, so there is some violence, and it's also a dark subject matter. So it's taking on modern day capitalism, the way AI and other forces are taking over people's jobs, and then also it's a moralistic tale of what are you going to do? Do you really have no other choice when it comes down to it? So
Mhm.
so I loved all of that about it. It is based on a novel, and this is actually the second film adaptation of that novel. The first one was directed by the great Costa Gravas, who's a fantastic filmmaker and is thanked in the end credits of this film. So, and I have not seen his version, although I'm a big fan of his film. So now I'm kind of curious to check out that one. So,
Yeah, one more thing I want to add about the film too. I really liked the way it looked at family dynamics too. I thought that was very interesting. The dynamics between husband and wife, father and son, and daughter, etc. And with the particular, like being a Korean film, that family structure and the way they regard each other is a little bit different from Americans. But I think it's certainly still universal in many ways. And I just love the way he kind of picked apart that idea of like the nuclear family and everything.
oh yeah, and the lead actor whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce. You should do it. Lee
I
Byung Hun.
Yeah,
Byung
I
Hun.
was like, I'm not sure I'd do any better, but he's
Okay,
fantastic.
he should have been nominated, and he is fantastic. The whole cast is great, but it's really a tour de force performance by him, and he's been in a lot of other films, including Joint Security Area and many other great Korean films. So big star over there. So okay, so you're number
Mhm.
nine.
So my number nine, and I want to kind of start with a caveat. I know that's maybe not where we want to go all the time, but this whole project, right, doing a top 10 of a year is like so hard to do. We're ranking these, but I don't think my rankings are solid at all. At any given time, they could switch around, and it's kind of just like these are some of my favorites. So, that being said, my number nine is The Shadow's Edge, directed by Larry Yang. And I see you roll your eyes there. I figured you would. That's okay. This is a film about a retired police officer, played by Jackie Chan, who's being brought out of retirement to help catch a group of highly skilled professional thieves. Kind of relating back to No Other Choice, I think it's interesting that we are seeing a theme of like evolving technologies, making life harder in many ways, right? Like these thieves are super good with her technology. And I don't know, I think it's interesting that we're kind of just reckoning as a society with technologies like AI and just all of that taking over. But anyway, I digress. The meat of this film is just the action. There are several amazing sequences in here, and a lot of them are kind of cut to ribbons, particularly with the ones involving Jackie Chan. He's getting up there in age, but it is still one of the best films he's done in a long time, and it was a lot of fun for me as like a Jackie Chan lover and like a Hong Kong action film lover, seeing these old guys come back and kick some butt again. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it feels like a nice baton pass in many ways to like the next generation.
Well, hopefully the next generation makes better movies than this, because I watched it and I was really shocked you gave it 4 stars, because I gave it 2 and that was generous. I almost gave it 1, and then I thought, well, that's kind of harsh, Angela. Um, I did like Jackie Chan and Tony Leung in this film. I thought they were great. I think the problem was everything else about it. I thought the music was horrible. I thought the filming, the photography was awful. I hated the editing. It was so quick cutting. It made Michael Bay look like he was making a Bellatar film or something. I mean, it was just so. I was like, I can't see even what's going on. It's very slick, and not in a good way. And yeah, and I just felt like it kind of does all the worst things that American action movies often do. Honestly, like the characters are very cliched, and then we don't really get to see the two guys we really are there for together until the very end. Which I thought, oh, this is like Michael Mann's Heat, but like without being a good movie. So anyway, yeah, I couldn't get into it, but I did try to. I watched the whole thing. I almost halfway through thought, I don't know if I want to keep watching this, but I know it's going to be on Autumn's Top 10, so I'm going to force myself to get through this because it's also over 2 hours long, and I felt every minute of it. So this was definitely one. I was like, I really hope this isn't on her top 10, but then I thought, I bet it is, so I better watch it so I can be
I gotta throw you
prepared.
some curveballs sometimes, I gotta keep you on your toes.
That's true, you do. Well, I think, if it's the best movie Jackie Chan's made in a long time, that makes me very sad for him.
Oh, no.
But I also read similar reviews online. People were like, "Oh, he's back," and I was like, "Oh dear, someone write a good script for Jackie Chan immediately."
No, no, no. This is like a swan song, if anything. I don't think he has it in him anymore, quite frankly.
To
But
do, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
hey, a lot of this is nostalgia, and I'm happy to admit that.
yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we'll move on to my number 8 film, which is Marty Supreme by director Josh Safdie. The Safdie brothers, who were once also like the Coen brothers, a brother filmmaking team, have split up. And the question was, they both had films come out in 2025. Benny Safdie with The Smashing Machine, which I liked but didn't love. And then Marty Supreme by Josh Safdie, which I loved. Set in the 1950s, it follows fictional American table tennis player Marty Mauser, played by Timothy Chalamet, and as he's trying to make the world championships. But it's really not about that. Let's face it. I mean, some people are like, is this movie really about ping pong? No, not really. I mean, you see some ping pong playing, which is awesome. I actually think it's kind of fun to watch, but it's not about that. This is about a guy, an immigrant, a person or a child of immigrants, trying to achieve the American dream and basically willing to do anything to get there. In a way, you see a lot of the films here have these themes like No Other Choice, like someone who is desperately trying to achieve a level of success and popularity and ambition and money, and is willing to do anything and use people, in this case, to do it. The Marty Mauser is not, people were like, is this like Rocky? Well, if Rocky was a really big jerk who only cared about money and nothing else, maybe. But it's really a daring performance, I think, by Timothy Chalamet to play a character kind of unlikable, but still charismatic as heck, Like you just can't take your eyes off this guy. You find yourself almost rooting for him besides yourself, going, why am I rooting for this guy? He's awful. But yet you are. And I think that's also what celebrity is, right? You find yourself liking people despite knowing that they're kind of awful. And so it's a great critique of like American celebrity and the American dream and what people are willing to forsake. He uses his Jewishness to his convenience when it works for him, and then he throws it away when it doesn't work for him. So curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I absolutely love this film as well. It is also in my top 10. I think one of my favorite aspects outside of what you mentioned as well, because I don't want to retread anything, is the specificity of like time and place, right? Like you mentioned the Jewish heritage and everything, and then setting that within the context of like, just right after post World War II and everything, as Jewish people are trying to establish their identity in America and the world at large. And I, like he said, I love the way that he uses his Jewishness, to like make all these jokes that would be otherwise unacceptable or whatever, but then he throws it away when it's more convenient to just be recognized as an American. And I was like, that is such a common theme, not just, for like this movie or whatever, but that is kind of, in many ways, what the American dream does to immigrants. We're a land of immigrants, but people, as soon as it benefits them, they're happy to throw away their heritage in favor of like the opportunity that this land supposedly provides. But anyway, I digress. I totally agree. Amazing performance from Timothy. I really love the fact that he is a scummy character. I think that's so great. I want to see more movies with bad people as the leads, and I want to root for them. It's not that I agree with. It's not that I agree with everything that they do. I don't. But by golly, he is charismatic. He has got the juice. You're so right. The whole time, I'm like, this guy is a piece of crap, but I hope he goes all the way.
Yeah, yeah, and then you kind of hate yourself for feeling that way a little bit. I was like, why am I, when he's in that big ping pong battle, I'm almost like, come on, Marty. And then I'm like, wait, why do I want this guy to win? He's awful. Like,
and here's the
it's so
thing, though,
weird. Yeah.
right? Given the context of everything, there's always a bigger fish, right? Is he the bigger piece of crap than, Kevin O'Leary's capitalist?
Oh, no, Kevin O'Leary's character
No,
is
no,
definitely
no.
the bigger piece of crap.
Exactly, right? Like, he's so shaped by, the things around him that it's almost hard to blame him for being, the hustler that he is. You kind of just have to admire his tenacity at that point.
Yeah, it's true. It's a great critique of the American dream and everything involved in that. It's also very, very funny in parts. It's also
Hmm.
like a lot of the films we're talking about today, a kind of a black comedy in parts. It's very, very funny in parts because Marty, it's just basically like different episodes of Marty getting himself into hot water and then trying to get himself out of it throughout the film. So you have to think of it in an episodic fashion like that. And we need to keep moving because we got a lot of movies to get through. So what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Sorry Baby, directed by Eva Victor. I thought this was a fantastic film. It's a dramedy, so drama comedy, about a woman, Agnes, who struggles to get her life back on track after she's sexually assaulted by a trusted mentor. This movie was, in turns, hilarious and also devastating. I especially, spoiler alert, the ending. I think it really, really touched me. But I think it handles this very sensitive material very, very well. I think that, oh gosh, and I forget her name, but the main actress is phenomenal. I love her. I love her character.
It's Eva Victor, the director.
It is Eva,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's incredible. She is so good in her performance here. She's like the funniest person I saw last year out of any movie. And again, just like for such sensitive material, I think it's handled really wonderfully. It's not in your face. It's actually quite understated, I think, for the most part. And it really just allows you to sit with her and kind of process with her. I don't know. I think the subjectivity portrayed here was really, really wonderful. But I digress. Your thoughts?
I'm going to wait on my thoughts. So if you have anything else to say, go ahead, because it's my next film.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler.
Go ahead, take it away.
Okay, so my number 7 film is Sorry Baby by director Eva Victor. And as Autumn said, and I feel proud because I saw this first and I told Autumn, you have to watch this movie. I got you to watch it. So I'm glad you really liked it enough to put it in your top 10 because it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's very this kind of droll, dry humor, and you're either like that kind of humor or you don't. I personally love it, and I thought her performance is phenomenal because she wrote, directed, and starred in this movie, and that's not easy to do for your first movie. It's a debut, by the way, and so when you think about it that way, especially, it's very daring. And the supporting cast is phenomenal, especially Naomi Ackie as her best friend Lydia, and their friendship is so beautiful and such a core. And I don't think female friendship has been portrayed as wonderfully in very many films as it is in this film. They're really supportive of one another. It's none of that stupid like cat fighting and the way we see female friendship portrayed a lot, where they always have to be fighting. They're just warm and nurturing and supportive of one another. And I think it also deals with this topic of sexual assault without all the drama. It's done in it's very inner. It's like everything that it's like looking at it from an inner world perspective of how her character of Agnes is processing this herself. We don't see the assault on camera. It's not some big huge dramatic moment. It's also a very kind of not movie like even type of assault when you hear about it later, like what actually happened. But like it's still something that happened to her that has affected her greatly, and she's got to process her way through it. So I just
Yeah.
think there's so many things about this film that are so subtle and beautiful. And unfortunately, in a way, because it was distributed by A24, I think people just kind of wrote it off as like, oh, it's one of those A24, little movies. And it's not. It's like way
Hmm.
better than that.
Yeah, and I think that's like maybe the only fair way to really portray something like sexual assault, right? Is from that subjective experience, because anything else almost ends up becoming just entertainment, right? It's just movie fodder for like a dramatic narrative or whatever. And I
Yeah.
think by taking it to that, inner like subjective experience, I think there's in many ways a lot more truth to that, a lot more ability for the audience to understand maybe what that's like and empathize and yeah.
And also, the cutest kitten in the world and the cutest
Hmm.
baby in the world appear in this movie. And so, if you like kittens and or babies, I would also recommend. This is me trying to sell it because we've talked about all these dark things, and I do think it's very funny.
It's
Also,
so
I just
funny. It's so
yeah,
funny.
and it's not 3 hours like a lot of the films that came out this year. So there you go. There's the sell on that one. So you're number seven.
My number seven is One Battle After Another, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. I think it's a movie that needs very little introduction, right? Everybody's heard of it. A comedy thriller about an ex-revolutionary who's dragged back into his old life after his daughter's kidnapped, basically. I just thought it's a fantastically interesting movie, right? I think it's beautifully shot, as all Paul Thomas Anderson movies are. I think the actors are wonderful, right? You have Leonardo DiCaprio, Chase Infinity does a wonderful job. Um, Benicio, or shoot, I'm forgetting all the names. It's
Benicio del
Yeah, it
Toro,
is
Sean
Benicio
Penn.
del Toro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Sean Penn. Like they're all just phenomenal and phenomenally interesting characters. Another very very funny movie too. It's really really funny. It's in many ways like lampooning revolutionaries, but at the same time, I do think it ultimately is on their side. I don't think it's as bleak an outlook as many have taken it. But I don't know. I think it's just a fantastically entertaining movie, most of all.
For sure. And that leads me to my number six film, which is One Battle After Another, also. So we can keep talking about it. It's so funny how we've had things sort of, that's weird. We did not know
Hmm.
each other's top tens, folks. I'll just put that out there right now. We had no idea. So, I mean, I knew some because we saw a lot of these movies together, but like I knew you were going to like certain films, but I didn't know which ones you were going to put on your top 10. So, One Battle After Another is, I just think it's a really ambitious film. And Paul Thomas Anderson does a lot of ambitious films. He's one of the few American filmmakers, I would say, who has almost never made a bad film. He's made some weaker ones for sure, but this film is it's totally different for him. He doesn't usually do anything remotely political, and he does it in the way he wants to do it, which is with rich characterizations. That's what he's really good at, is bringing all these people together. I still wish the category the Academy would do is like a cast, like an ensemble award, because I really think it's almost unfair to single out any one actor in this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic, but so is Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor,
Hmm.
Chase Infinity, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro. Everyone is bringing their A game to their JP. Like even in the people that only have 10 minutes of screen time, they're all on point. And Anderson's photography is really phenomenal in this movie. There's a sequence where they're driving where I almost got dizzy. He doesn't get always as much credit for that because of the way his movies so focus on certain characters, but I think it's really quite good. So I think it is very funny. It is political, and so it's going to probably upset some people if they don't agree with the politics of it. But I'm sorry to say that it is very much feels like the America that we're living in right now. It's the most reflective of our times of any movie I saw. So,
For better or
for better or
worse.
worse. But yeah, that in fact he makes us able to laugh at it. Just as an aside, I have to bring up, I just watched this Mel Brooks documentary, and they talk about how he got into trouble for making fun of things like Nazis, right? And he said, the best thing you can do to undermine fascism or tyranny is to make fun of someone. That's why, for instance, Putin doesn't allow. It's actually illegal to make jokes about him in Russia, right? And it's not because they don't like the jokes. It's because it undermines someone to make fun of
Hmm.
them. And so I think, to give that what you will, like this film, the fact there is so much comedy in it and it's also what we need right now. I feel like as a people, we need to be able to laugh together. So, and just a great film.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
yours.
number six.
Yes.
So my number six was Resurrection, directed by Bi Gan. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but anyway, it's a Chinese film. It's beautiful, in a future where humanity has surrendered its ability to dream in exchange for immortality. There's a group of people called Deliriants who prefer to live instead in a cinematic dream world, even if it disrupts the flow of time itself. And so, tasked with eliminating these dreamers are other ones, and Resurrection follows one particular other one, Shu-Chi, as she chases a deliriant through his dreams. So this, I think, is just first and foremost an incredible formalistic work. I think, like, if you've seen any other films from this director, they are all incredibly shot. Just like he's got a great audacity to him. He's known for these really, really long takes, like sometimes like 40 minutes or more. And this is just another case of like beautifully, beautifully shot, incredibly edited. Like I like the way this film is structured. It's structured in like kind of six parts. Um, and they're all very distinct from one another. And I'll say, like, I think maybe my favorite was the beginning, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. It's very Obayashi-esque. He's taking advantage of everything that cinema has to offer, for just like a wonderful sensory experience. I think my biggest qualm with it is that it is ultimately a love letter to movies, which, quite frankly, at this point, I love movies, but I'm getting kind of sick of those kinds of movies. That being said, this tackles it from a different perspective, and again, like I just have to admire the audacity of him. Like it is an incredible work, and I think one that might appreciate in my mind over time as I see it again and again.
I didn't get to see this, and I'm very sad about it because Autumn didn't take me to Southern California with her to see it. No, she didn't go there just to see Resurrection, although that would be very funny. That would be a real testament of your film
I did delay my
fandness.
family get together for that. I changed the date so that I could go see
Oh,
that.
I didn't realize. I thought you just didn't want to go right at Christmas time. So that's even funnier. I thought it was just like, oh, I'll avoid Christmas time, holiday traffic, and go in January. So that is sort of funny. But you got to go see it in California. It was a very limited release movie, which is really too bad. But I guess it also makes sense because I don't know what the appetite in America is right now for 3 hour long experimental Chinese cinema, but probably not super high. I think it showed a week in Portland and I missed it. I'm definitely planning to see. You told me that Criterion Collection is going to put it out, so I will definitely be seeing it. I've liked his other movies, so I'm very excited to see what this one has to do. And I'm a fan of slow cinema when done right. Sometimes it's often done very poorly, but if you do it right, like a Bellatar or people that I know have influenced this filmmaker, I think it can be really astounding. It kind of puts you almost in a trance or meditative like state. It's not for everyone, obviously, but I'm very excited to see this one. So, and let's see, did we get
Your
through
number
all of our? Did we get
was
through
that
every?
your? Oh, we did your number six earlier.
We
Okay.
already did my number six. So that was your number six. So I think we did our top six. So thank you for watching. We did it. We got through it. And we're going to watch our next episode. We'll have our top five of the year, including our number ones. Drum roll, please. And plus, remember to check out our website at reelfilmsnobs.com for those extra movies that we're going to recommend and where you can find some of these. Not all of them are going to be the easiest to find. And anything else you want to add, Autumn, before we sign off?
I just want to reiterate again, like these top 10 lists are so mutable, right? They're so
Right,
hard to
and we
choose.
missed some big ones that
There's
are coming out. We still haven't. There's a
exactly.
couple coming out in February here in Salem, like Surratt, that's nominated for an Oscar that we haven't seen yet. So
We
there,
might need to do like an honorable mentions or like, ones that we couldn't capture in this because
we'll
there were
have
a
to do
lot of
that
great
later.
films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day and great movies.